Mic check, mic check. Let's see something real quick. Mic check. All right, let me do a quick mic check. All right, let's go. Let's go. It's Jay Dizzle. You already know. Liberation Minded Media. We in the building. Yeah. All right, so let's see here what we got. What's good? What's good, Don? See if anybody else is going to check in. I want to go over a couple different things. I was going to wait to do another video on this cat. I really wasn't going to, but just because he basically validated what I've already said was going to happen. And I want to just go ahead and show this because I'm going to be honest with you. I'm very surprised, as stupid as this dude is, that he actually not only read what he read online, had very little understanding of it, but he proved some of the things that I've already said. A little later on, we'll get into the Tyler Perry buying BET. What do we think about that? But so yeah, here's what I'm gonna do, man. I'm gonna play a couple different parts. We're just gonna go ahead and get at this fuck nigga named Taharka Bey. And as you know, he is suing Tariq Nasheed for defamation. So one thing that I've said about this from the get-go is that this defamation suit is a no-go. I was really surprised he actually filed it. However, after he raised money for it, he pretty much had to, right? But the reason why I'm surprised that he's even went this far, and I'd really be surprised if it goes too far, is for a couple different reasons, which I'm gonna go ahead and explain to you now before we get into a reaction video, right? So no, what do you call that? Copyrights. This is just a reaction video. So one of the reasons why I really didn't think that he would be foolish enough, even though he's autistic, guys. Like, let's not forget that, along with being a sex offender, a documented sex offender, along with being a woman beater, this is all documented, child abuser, a thief, a robber, a dope fiend, closet homosexual, a lot of these different things that he truly are, but he also is autistic. And you almost want to give him a pass and feel sorry for him because of that, but he really truly is autistic. And the reason why I was thinking like, yo, there's no way he would really do this is because check this out. I showed the documents of him being on the sex offense registry in 2016. And after those started to get around and Tariq Nasheed got a hold of him, Sonetta got a hold of him, whatever. As it got more traction, he filed a lawsuit against Tariq Nasheed saying that he's suing him for defamation based on him saying that he was a documented sex offender. Now, you don't have to be, an attorney to know that if somebody docks you, you can't sue them for defamation unless you can prove it's not true. So one of the things that Taharka Bey was saying about that particular document, the first thing he said when it came out, he said that I doctored it. He said that I basically manipulated the paperwork to say what it doesn't really say. If anybody remembers, if anybody was following this from the beginning, you know that he claimed that I fixed up or hooked up, as he called it, the paperwork because it really didn't say that. Later on, he fell back from that and he said, well, it just doesn't mean what you think it means. So he can tell this to his passengers of the small bus that he is obviously conducting. So him being the small bus shepherd, him being the driver of the small bus with all the people that listen to him, obviously being slow-mos, they believe that, right? But the reason why I didn't really think he would be foolish enough to pursue a lawsuit for defamation is because in court, and I'm going to show you this in a minute, in court, the attorneys know what that paperwork means. The judge knows what that paperwork means, meaning he's not going to be able to go to a court of law and say that that paper doesn't mean exactly what it says. He's not going to be able to pull that off with attorneys and judges present in the courtroom. They're going to make him admit that's what it means, or they're going to correct him if he tries to say that's not what it means. So for him to try to, you know, pull the stunts that he was pulling against y'all won't work in a court of law. So that's one of the reasons why it just doesn't make sense, right? What's up, Ricky Kelly? He claimed that until his own yeah, exactly. He explained, that's exactly what he said. And matter of fact, Ricky Kelly was here from the beginning. And exactly what he said. He said it doesn't mean what it means. First he said it was doctored, then he said it doesn't mean what it means, and he's going to explain what it meant. And then he never explained it. He used some type of, well, Noble Drew Ali said you should change your mind a lot type of shit. So that's one of the reasons why, you know what I'm saying, like if he goes to court with this fully, it's going to expose himself to his whole audience. His whole audience that listens to him, they're going to see the truth unfold if he pursues this. And another reason why this lawsuit is garbage, it's trash, it's because he's suing somebody for defamation. Yet he's defaming the person who he's suing every single day. See, the difference is Tariq Nasheed only like mentioned him in a few videos. He didn't make videos about him. He mentioned him a few times with documentation. This dude is making video after video, Facebook after Facebook post, Twitter after tweet about the same person day in, day out. Defaming him, claiming that he had Nipsey Hussle killed, claiming that he's a CIA/FBI agent spying on the UK, and that's why he can't get into the UK. Claiming that he's had facial reconstruction surgery after he caught a body in Detroit that the feds let him get away with. And if you really just think about the foolishness that he's saying, it's like if you really believe that this dude is connected with the CIA, FBI, has all this kind of clout, how would you think you're going to be able to get away with suing him? He doesn't really believe that. That's just smoke screens. So let me explain what happened to you guys, or what happened. And this is what I told you would happen months ago. I told you he doesn't have a lawyer. He spent the money that he raised for, as much as he calls everyone grifters and scammers and those who are raising money and not doing right. And he's mad about here's what's funny about these cats, man. They're so mad about the Hidden History Museum, calling it a scam. It's just a comedy club. They have all these negative things that they're saying about the Hidden History Museum, trying to convince everyone that they got scammed and they got played. But everyone who contributed to it loves it. The community that it sits in loves it. It gets great grassroots support. The only people hating on it are the ones who didn't even contribute or support it in the first place. And we're supposed to care about what you guys are saying, though, right? And the people who are going the hardest against it, and listen, I'm only using Tariq Nasheed as an example, because this really extends to anyone out there who's doing work or supporting work to get real things done. Because we all face, to some degree, the same type of challenges and the same type of haters and agents and coons and tethers coming at us. So when they're attacking someone like Tariq Nasheed or someone like Jason Black or someone like whoever, insert name there, insert name here, of someone who's putting in work who gets a lot of smoke, it's not just an attack on that individual. This is what I've said before about Farrakhan. I don't care about what you think about him. Understand that when the establishment attacks him, when these coons and these haters attack him, they're attacking us all by default. When they go after the R. Kellys and the Michael Jacksons or whoever they go after, the Bill Cosbys, by proxy, they're waging a war against all of us. And it so happens that the front line of white supremacy happens to be our own people. And they're typically people who don't have anything going on for themselves or for the community, meaning they have no contributions. They have a lot of criticism. They have a lot of hatred. They want to undermine it. They're following the same blueprint as counterintelligence, but they don't have any contributions. See, I can respect someone who's criticizing, who's actually doing things. And maybe they just don't like the way this person is doing something. They have a different way that they're trying to do it. But as long as they're sincere and actually doing some work, I can respect it. But the thing is, people who think like that and who are actually doing work, let me calm it down a little bit, you guys. People who are really actually doing work in the community don't just sit up and hate up on people because they just fill the void if they feel there's a void. Not only that, there's always a mutual respect that people have. I've done a lot of community work over the years. I've had to work with people who I personally did not like as individuals. I've had to work with people who I was cool with, and then we had a falling out. But because I respect the work he or she is doing, and vice versa, we still understood that, hey, we got to get this work done. We don't have to like each other. We still seen the value of the other person, which made us have to be able to collaborate or at least just salute it and respect it from afar. And that's what a lot of people don't understand if you ain't really doing anything. So what happens is these clowns that are online just hating and undermining, delegitimizing, spreading misinformation, they don't have anything that they're contributing. That should be the first red flag. So let's check this out. So we know that this cat raised money for this lawsuit, right? He raised money for this lawsuit, and he doesn't even have an attorney. He's gonna admit that in a minute. I'm gonna show you the clip. He's gonna admit himself he doesn't even have an attorney. He basically ripped y'all off. He basically did what he's accusing other people of doing. Because when he went out to LA the day he got slapped, he didn't file that lawsuit that day. He filed it weeks later for $100 online. But he took his family to Disneyland while he was in LA. He took you guys' money, the money that you guys contributed for the lawsuit. He spent on his family at Disneyland. And he still doesn't have a lawyer till today. He has a court date coming up in a couple weeks, and I'm going to show you the paperwork. He's going to show the paperwork. I'm very surprised that he kept this live stream up. He should have never put it out. He's an idiot, but he's relying on the fact that his followers and his audience just don't know better. So first, let's hear him talk about how he's going through trouble at home because, like, as you can imagine, his wife, seeing that he's obsessed with another man all day and all night, you know, it's probably causing problems in the home front, which I've said it probably does. It definitely would, because it only makes sense, right? Check it out.
Y'all know sometimes, right? Y'all know sometimes I be going live and I be nervous thinking y'all can hear it in the background. I thinking y'all can hear it in the background. I'm like, oh man, somebody gonna get a recording of this and they gonna do it live on me, you know.
In other words, what he's saying is that, you know, when he's going live, because he's so obsessed with another man, it's probably been plaguing his relationship for a minute. I could only imagine, right? He's going live, obsessed with this dude, and of course, you know, he has a newborn, he has a family, and he's neglecting them to do live streams every single day about the same man. Of course, any woman would be starting to think that, nigga, are you sus at this point? So you got slapped, you didn't do anything, but then you want an MMA fight? You want to grapple and wrestle and roll around with the nigga? Like, are you fucking, what? Huh? Just weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you got a crush on this nigga, just say so, man. Just say it, bro. You know what I'm saying? These days and times, it's Pride Month. You know what I'm saying? No one's going to judge you. Just say it. Just come out the closet, make it easier on yourself. You're causing your family a lot of turmoil right now, and you should just do the right thing and just,
But this what I just want to tell you, family. Somebody gonna hear her hooping and hollering in the background, and they gonna be doing skits on me. You know what I'm talking about? See, we family. I can tell y'all this. I think somebody gonna do skits on me. You know what I'm saying? But family, everything is smoothing out now. It's smoothing out. You know what I mean? Instead of yelling at me 2 times a day, I'm getting a 1.5. Instead of throwing something across the room 4 times a day, I'm getting 2. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing good. We're making progress. So I just want to say thank you for my support. I'm scared. I'm thanking her for my support. You know what I mean? But I want to say thank you for your support, because I don't do as much shows as I used to. Let me say this, and I'm gonna leave it alone at this. I'm gonna leave it at this. You worry about that Morse World TV stuff, but you got a family here.
Whoa. So yeah, like, of course, like I've said this months ago. I'd be very surprised if he hasn't been going through this. I'd be surprised if you know what I'm saying, like, if he didn't have these kind of situations going on, because I'm sure his wife isn't cool with the fact that he neglects the family to go in his mama's basement, which is where he lives, to do shows on other dudes while they have a fresh newborn. That's probably why he had no choice but that money that he raised for the filing the lawsuit or whatever, which he could have done for at home, which he did do at home, because he didn't do it when he went to LA. Of course he had to, okay, baby, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go to Disney World. Morse World TV is sponsoring it. But unfortunately, him doing that, for you guys who donated, for all y'all who are out there saying that everybody else is scamming, everybody else that raises money and does legitimate business are scammers, yet he has raised money several times over for things he have never produced, including the Morse World van that he was going to use to go cover the Polite trial that he never did, the Morse Village, which never came through, and of course for this lawsuit, in which not only did he not even file till after he took his family on vacation with your money, but he still hasn't even secured a lawyer, but he's going to start begging you for money in a minute. So let's go ahead and get into the document that he's going to show. And I'll be honest with you, people get at me with a lot of information because he has crossed so many people, many of them who I know, who he has disrespected and undermined, accused of different things. So people get at me with information. So this document that he's going to show, I've actually already seen it months ago.
So I want to put me.
This is the document that what was filed, and this is just to let you know, like, I'm not trying to dox anybody. This ain't one of those, but it's public record if you know how to find it. It is a matter of public record, and since he's showing it, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to show you him going through this particular document that is directly connected to him filing the lawsuit, and let's just hear what he has to say about it.
Man, this is an organic show. I don't do this show any other way. This is an organic show. You know what I mean? It's an organic show, and this is his attorney. All right. So let me pull on this side. All right, now here we go. All right, y'all ready? All right, we about to get busy. Okay, now this is his response. It says, on May 30th, please take notice, on May 30th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m., Department 72, this court located on, et cetera, defendants Tariq Nasheed, King Flex Entertainment Incorporated, and Melanoid Nation Foundation defendants will and hereby do move this court pursuant of Code of Civil Procedure for an order of striking the complaint filed by plaintiff. If you understand law, they're trying to strike my complaint.
No, that's a typical procedure whenever you're facing it. If you've ever, unfortunately, had to be in court, one of the first things that your lawyer typically tries to do is find a reason to strike it or have it dismissed. So that's typical procedure, and they're doing so on the ground. Well, I'll let him explain it. Go ahead.
The motion is made on the grounds that the complaint falls squarely within the scope of Code Civil Procedure, I'm thinking, 425.16, because each cause of action therein arises from acts of furtherance of rights of petition or free speech. Specifically, the gravamen of each plaintiff's claim arise from the alleged acts of defendants and statements relating to an ongoing public discussion regarding plaintiff criminal history for sex crimes.
So check this out. Here's what I want y'all to understand about this. So remember how he was saying it doesn't mean what it says? Maybe I'll pull up the document. You know how he kept on saying that that's not what it really means? We just got it twisted because we don't know law. So what he just read you was Tariq Nasheed's attorney telling the judge in the court on the record that Taharka Bey is a sex offender. So as he's saying that we don't know what that means and we just can't read and we don't know law, this is an attorney who, with the same document that we have been showing here and on other platforms, including on Tariq Nasheed's broadcast, with that information, his attorney has entered on the court record calling Taharka Bey guilty of sex crimes. So are you guys gonna have to allege, all you guys who are riding for this dude, are you implying that Tariq Nasheed's attorney doesn't know law enough to know what that damn paperwork means? He's putting it on the record like, hey, we have a right to do this. Freedom of speech, and everything that we said was backed by documents, because indeed what he's saying that was defamation is true, because the plaintiff, which is Taharka Bey, has a criminal history for sex crimes. They're setting it off like that. Now, if this wasn't true, you think that they would be filing this stuff? Now, here's something I wanted to say one more time, you guys, because when this paperwork first came out, what Taharka Bey would try to do is he would cap a lot. He would Sir Cap a lot with it. So he'd be like, oh, I'm not on there. You guys can check the record, knowing that he's no longer on there, and knowing that the paperwork that was shown wasn't what put him on the sex offense. That's not what had him registered. The paperwork that we were showing is only reflective of the fact that he was on the registry at that time in 2016. In other words, somebody sent me some paperwork. They doxed him, and the person who sent it to me paid a law firm to look up his shit. And it just so happens when they sent me some stuff and I sent it to somebody else so they could put it on their channel if they want, and as that person was looking through it, they hit me up like, oh shit, did you see this? So that particular paper that we've been showing, that's not what put him on there. It's just like when you go to court, kind of like when you're about to get out of jail. If you've ever unfortunately had to be in jail, they run what's called an NCIC check. Stands for National Check, International Check. Making sure you don't have any warrants before they release you. Well, the same thing when you go to court, especially on a criminal matter, they're going to run your name. They're going to check you out to give the judge a good profile and to make sure that you don't have anything outstanding that you should be locked up for, just to see what your record's all about. So that's what they did on that court case that we're showing. They just they ran his shit. They just basically ran his background. And at the time in 2016, he was still registered. Does that mean he's registered now? No. the time could have elapsed. There could be several reasons why he would be off of that registry now. But at that time, he was registered. And if he was registered, or since he was registered at that time, you could only be registered if you have been convicted of a sex crime. You don't register just for being accused. So that means he had to actually be convicted at some point. Now, my theory is that whatever put him on that was probably expunged. He probably had his record expunged, which is why these records can't be found now. The exact case that put him on there hasn't been found because it's probably been expunged. He's probably had his record expunged and cleaned and sealed, which anyone can do. And especially if you're working with them folks as a snitch and your job is to undermine black organizations. Yeah, that would be an easy thing to have done. But here's the problem. When you want to sue somebody for defamation and what they said was backed by court documentation, and now you have to go to court to defend why you said what you said, the attorney probably has or will request for his record to be unsealed in order to give the defendant, which is Tariq Nasheed in this case, an opportunity to show why he said what he said. That means if this thing goes to court, there is a likeliness, or at least a good chance, that those records are going to have to be unsealed and brought forth in order for him to have adequate defense of why he said what he said. And the reason why there's a good chance it will probably be unsealed is because there's already documentation that indicates that he was at one point on the sex offense registry. So now the next step would be, well, what was it that put him on there? If those records are sealed, we need those unsealed, Your Honor. This is another reason why I thought that he would be a fool to actually go through with this case. I understand the money grab part, but to actually go through with that case is going to open up a can of worms that he's been trying to hide for a long time now. But let's continue. See, he doesn't have an attorney advising him of this stuff because with all the money he raised, he never got an attorney, and he's going to say this himself in a minute.
The complaint of the statements regarding plainness are either themselves speech in public forum regarding an issue of public concern or acts supporting the right to speak publicly. Again, if you don't understand what's being said, he's basically saying he has the freedom of speech to say what he said. That's what this is saying. Move all the jargon out the way. He's saying that he can say this because it's a public forum and he has the right to freedom of speech.
It's not just saying that. It's also saying that because you are a registered sex offender at some point, you're documented, we'll say, that would be more accurate. Because you are a documented sex offender, what he said was freedom of speech. It wasn't defamation, because there's paperwork that backs it, which is why, in order for him to fully be able to defend himself and make his point, his attorney probably already has requested that the records be unsealed. But even if that doesn't happen, the documents that he already has that shows that why by your name will be enough, because you're not going to be able to go to a court of law and say that that's not what it means. They will correct you on the record, which will blow up everything that you've been saying about that not meaning that. You can say, yes, the records have been sealed, but at that particular time, you were on the registry. That is what that document means. And you're not going to be able to skate around that like you do on Moore's World TV. This is coming from an attorney. This isn't just coming from, you know what I'm saying, just some street lawyer, some jailhouse lawyer babble. This is actually has been submitted on record by an attorney. And if you had an attorney, Taharka, you'd be shutting the fuck up. Because surely they would have told you, yo, quit making videos on this dude. You're not going to be able to walk up into a court saying that you're suing someone for defamation who's only spoke on you a few times, but you're speaking on them every single day. And you requested a jury trial. So you're going to have to go to Los Angeles, where they're very, very familiar with clout chasers trying to sue celebrities. And maybe celebrity is a term that's a little bit sensationalized for Tariq Nasheed, but not really. He's been on TV. He's an established author. He's a personality. People know him in the community. And they're going to see you trying to sue him for $3 million when you can't even prove that you've ever made $3 million. The whole time on Moore's TV, you said that you were a handyman. Now you're going to have to prove that you have lost $3 million worth of potential employment. And you're pursuing a defamation when you're the one defaming. You've alleged that he was a murderer, that he was a spy, that he was a spy. You said this nigga was a spy. Like spying on the UK. You said he was spying on Great Britain, and that's why he got banned from the UK, because they realized that he was a spy. Nigga, nobody in their right mind is entertaining that bullshit. You're not gonna go to LA where they're used to trolls like you, especially when they can date mark, right? What do you call that? They can date when you filed and where you filed from. And it's not going to add up that you had a reason to pursue going to his place of business, because even though you told the Morris World citizens, as you call them, that you were out there to file that lawsuit, you didn't file it that day. The courts know that. So it's going to look like exactly what it is, clout chasing. And the person that's filing this defamation suit is the only one actually defaming. You're the only one saying things without proof.
That's what I'm getting from this. Now let me read further.
Shout out to Don P 914.
The burden shifts to the plaintiff to present admissible evidence establishing a probability that he will prevail in his claims.
In other words, they're saying that Taharka is going to have to show probability that he would win this case. He'd have to show probability why he'd win this case. And remember, in order to win the case, he has to show that he has lost $3 million worth of revenue, because that's what he's suing for. He's going to have to prove that he was defamed with things that were not true, maliciously, knowingly that it wasn't true. So let's just say, just to be devil's advocate, in other words, to be Taharka's master's advocate, devil's advocate, let's say that paperwork, there was a mistake made. I mean, what it says is what it means, but let's just say it wasn't supposed to be on there. You can't sue Tariq Nasheed or anyone else for showing paperwork that says something just because the courts may have made a mistake. You would have to sue the court. You'd have to prove that the court was in error with what they reported on that paperwork that you signed. I'm gonna pull up the paperwork in a minute. So yes, what's going on here is they're saying like, yo, you show us the probability that you would win this case. And they're putting, look at this, they're putting cases that are similar that have already been ruled on. That's called precedents. Not presidents is like the president, precedents. So this ain't looking good for you, man. This is not looking good for you. It's looking like you're in trouble. my prediction is that he is not going to pursue this. He's going to drop this case. Because in order to pursue this case, a lot of things are going to come out. At the very minimum, it's going to come out that that paperwork says what it says, and it means exactly what we all thought it meant, or what we all knew it meant, and not what he said it meant. That's the very minimum that's going to come out in this casework, or in this case, because that's already been submitted in the paperwork for this case. That stuff's already been submitted. And at the very worst, they're going to unseal that record that you had sealed of what you did and who you did it to, and your conviction that put you on the sex offense registry. Now, you'll still be able to retain some of your audience, because a lot of them are sex offenders as well, and I have proof of that. A lot of your supporters and friends are actually also sex offenders, and I have proof of that. And I'm talking about Adrian. You know your boy Adrian. I'm talking about your boy Charles. Yeah. And we know that a lot of your people, especially your mods, they're also agents, bots, or just haters. And most of your audience, they don't fuck with you like that. They watch you for entertainment purpose, or they're tethers who just hate FBA. So they love to see someone who's going after who they feel is the representative of the foundational Black American movement. You know that, though.
They claim plaintiff cannot meet this burden because the statements are absolutely privileged. Among other deficiencies plaguing his claim, plaintiff cannot show that the speech at issue, consisting of privileged statements of opinion or of substantially true facts, is defamatory or otherwise illegal.
Yeah, let's read that all together. It says the plaintiff, which is Taharka Bey, cannot show, one, that the speech at issue consisting of privileged statements of opinion and or true and substantially true facts is defamatory or otherwise illegal. Two, that the defendant's alleged acts were extreme or outrageous, meaning that Tariq didn't say anything extreme or outrageous because it was based in fact. That's what that is saying. And three, that the defendant acted with malice. In other words, you can't prove. Remember, malice is a state of mind, so you can't really prove that. I mean, that has something to do with the case that we had to have, that we did up here with the police, because, you know, police always have malice clause in their laws, so it protects them from when they kill somebody. They can say that they feared for their life, therefore they didn't act with malice. And unless they say they acted with malice, you can't prove malice because it's a state of mind. Anyway, that's a whole different subject. But this is what it's saying. It's saying you're not going to be able to prove that it was extreme, outrageous, or in malice. And you're not going to be able to prove, you can't show that the speech, which consists of privileged statements of opinion and or true and substantially true facts, is defamatory. You can't prove that. Why can't you prove that? Because there's paperwork that backs what was said. If you knew how to read properly, you probably would have never showed this on your show, homie. If you had an attorney, surely you wouldn't even be still making videos. You would at least be shutting the fuck up until the case was over, and you damn sure wouldn't be showing this, and you would understand what you stand to lose and what's likely going to happen and what kind of motions probably have been filed and or will be filed in order to unseal your records to have adequate defense, because that is within anyone's civil rights. Let's go.
The defendant's alleged acts were extreme and outrageous, that the defendant's acts with malice or the plaintiff suffered damages.
So in other words, yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying you're not going to be able to prove any of that. You're going to have to prove that you, the defendant, or that you're going to have to prove that you, the plaintiff, has suffered damages, special or otherwise, as a result of any alleged statements and or conduct by the defendant in light of the ongoing controversy and public debate regarding plaintiff. So what that basically means in a nutshell is that you're going to have to prove. They don't believe you're going to be able to prove, and neither do I, that you suffered significant damages, especially monetarily speaking, because you've never made $3 million in your whole life. So it's going to be hard to convince people that you would have had this paperwork not came out. You're gonna have to prove that, oh yeah, see, I lost $3 million worth of contracts, or my show was making so much that now I can't, get jobs, I can't get work, and people aren't watching as much. You're not gonna be able to show any of that stuff to prove that you have a legitimate claim for a $3 million defamation suit. That's ridiculous.
Special or otherwise.
But what I really think he was trying to do, and I showed this in one of the videos I did before, is he was hoping to scare Tariq Nasheed into tapping out and giving him some type of settlement. Like, hey, just give me 30 G's and we'll call it even. Because he even said, you'd be better off just whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. In other words, he was trying to get Tariq Nasheed to fold and just give him a bag because he knows that Tariq has a little bit of money. So he wanted to try to, yeah. Hold up.
As a result of alleged statements and conduct by defendant in light of ongoing controversy and public debate regarding plaintiff. As a result, plaintiff cannot meet his burden and the complaint must be stricken.
That's exactly what they're doing. This motion is to get this whole thing thrown out like this is some garbage. Plaintiff, aka Taharka Bey, cannot show that he has lost the amount of money that he's suing for, or nowhere close. He can't prove that Tariq Nasheed operated out of malice or outrageous in extremity, or that what he said wasn't true. Not only wasn't true, he can't prove that because he only said what the paperwork said. Remember, he's suing him because of the sex crime shit, because of the woman beater shit, and the child abuse shit. All those things are on court records. That's what he did. He read court records. So you can't prove that this was done out of malice or that it was done intentionally, deceitfully. In fact, it's only gonna you just open yourself to having your records unsealed in order to have a full wealth of information that backs why what was said was said. But even without the record being unsealed, just the paperwork that already has been shown is enough to show it wasn't malice. It wasn't intentionally untrue. It wasn't extreme or outrageous. And then you still have to show that you suffered damages close to what you're asking for. Whether you're going to say it's emotional damage, which is, it's going to be hard to say emotional damage when you're goofy and having a ball every single day, posting and clowning. And then the fact that you're the actual one that's doing defamation and you chose this to be a jury trial. Dumb. You just checkmated yourself. Oh my God. I told y'all that this was going to happen. It gets better.
Pursuant to Section 425 subdivision, defendants are entitled.
By the way, hold up real quick. Shout out to everybody that's watching. Make sure y'all like it to help the algorithms out. Fill up that chat room. I know a lot of people are watching that don't want to chat, you know what I'm saying? Because of course, like you guys are watching on behalf of Taharka Bey, or Taharka Bey is watching himself. I know that he was supposed to go live today at 9 o'clock. A lot of times what he does is when, like when me and exposing Taharka Bey, shout out, I see you. Let me, hold up, I see you in the chat. Let me see. What's up? Research Ninja in the building. But anyway, so yeah, he's gonna have a hard time proving this case. It will, if it doesn't get, I almost hope it doesn't get thrown out. I want to see this thing play out in court. I want to see the opportunity for Tariq's lawyer to get your case unsealed that shows exactly what you did that got you convicted of the sex crime that put you on the registry. Then, of course, let's not forget the current sex crime that you're committing by way of exploiting Sonetter's wife, Napa, by showing her profane nude pictures that were meant for private what's it called? Consumption, that you actually monetized without license on your website. You're showing pornography. I don't think you have a license and registered to be able to show pornography on your website and charge people for it. And what you're doing is called revenge porn, because you're doing it out of malice. You've said this yourself. You did this to get back at her because she made you mad. So you took nude photos and videos that someone sent you because they were upset with her. Let's just say what it is. This is like a triangle of sex criminality going on here. So Napa used to be seeing somebody who was a host of a show on Block Talk Radio called In the Black Radio. He co-hosts the show All Viral Hip Hop or some shit like that, which is a lot better than his other platform. I got to give it to him for that. But he caught a case for messing with an underage girl. And I think that's when him and Napa broke up. He caught a case for having sex or pursuing an underage girl. He's a registered sex offender himself. And he's the one that gave Taharka Bey the videos and pictures that Taharka Bey used in order to shame Napa. And you didn't just do that, which is a sex crime in itself, but you also monetized it and put it on your website, which for which computer forensic footprints will prove all of that. That is a sex crime in itself. So it's not just that you were on the sex offense registry in 2016, which means you were convicted of something. You're still conducting yourself in the realm of a sexual criminal, homie, along with surrounding yourself and associating with those that are like you. See, now it makes sense why you attack Sisters of the Underground, who ironically, the day that you was attacking them online, they were actually in your neighborhood operating, and they ended up rescuing a 14-year-old woman or girl, young lady that was kidnapped and being exploited as a sex slave. But you, at the same time that they were launching that operation, doing that with the help of Pansock, a brother of mine and his organization, you were undermining and making fun of these sisters and disrespecting these sisters. Like, just the optics of you going in on an organization of sisters who rescue women from DV situations and from sex trafficking, and then you have a whole bunch of DVs and woman beating and sex crimes on your record. I mean, I guess it makes sense because they're rescuing women from people like you. Pathetic piece of shit. So that's you.
To recover their attorney fees and costs incurred in bringing this motion, and upon entry of ordering striking the complaint, will seek such fees in subsequent application. Defendant has been sued by.
Yeah, he finally showed the paperwork, sis. Not only did he show the paperwork, in a minute you're going to hear him say that he doesn't even have an attorney, that he might have to do this pro se. So what did he do with the money? If he doesn't have an attorney, like if you can't find an attorney, a lot of times attorneys will do it. What do you call that? Well, they'll basically do it in lieu of future gains from it. Meaning if they think that they have a winnable case, pro bono, I think. If they think they have a winnable case, they'll take it, and then they'll just take like a third or something. So you haven't been able to find an attorney that would do that, because no attorney will look at that case and think it's winnable, especially with you conducting yourself the way you still are. And you don't have the money to hire an attorney, despite the fact that you've been raising money, because you've been using that money to do things like take your family on vacation or probably pay for the expense of having newborn or pay bills and stuff like that because you obviously don't work. And your YouTube ain't paying you that much. I think when Exposing Taharka Bey did the numbers, it was like, I want to say 200 a month or something. So, yeah. So the same person that's saying everybody else is scamming and raising money and grifting is doing exactly that. But let's continue because I want you to hear it out of his mouth. I want you to hear it out the turtle's mouth.
By plaintiff based on statements related to plaintiff criminal
pro bono. Thank you. It's all good.
Offender.
Hold on. Let's rewind that part. He said the S word. Let's do this again.
Defendant has been sued by plaintiff based on statements related to plaintiff criminal history as a sex offender. And I'm going to tell you, they put up a bogus piece of paper, but I'll leave it at that.
Listen, one, two. If it was bogus, if that paper was bogus, there wouldn't be an attorney entering this on the record to defend his client. You know, you don't have an attorney, so you probably shouldn't speak on it as if. You know what I mean? I get what you're doing. You have to continue with this grift, with your lie. You have to keep the lie going because you're about to ask your audience for more money to get an attorney, which you should have been had. Like, you shouldn't have a court date in 2 weeks and still be trying to raise money for the attorney after you done took a trip to Disneyland with your family and got slapped for free actually you paid to get slapped and go see Mickey Mouse, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You paid to get slapped and see Mickey Mouse. Welcome to LA. Welcome to the West Coast, nigga. So yes, I'm gonna read this. Defendant have been sued by plaintiff. That means Tariq Nasheed has been sued by Taharka Bey based on statements related to Taharka Bey's criminal history as a sex offender. Do you think that an attorney is saying this? Do you think an attorney, look at this dude, this is the attorney because he wants to clown the fact that, oh, look at this attorney, this is Tariq Nasheed's attorney, Silverstein or whatever, some Jewish dude. And you know, if you're going to court and you need an attorney, if you ain't got Johnny Cochran, Alton Maddox, get yourself one of them. Get yourself one of them yarmulke wearing ass niggas. And that's exactly what he did. And you think that this attorney here misread or misunderstood the paperwork that shows you as a registered sex offender? You think that they just didn't know what it meant? He didn't look it up. He didn't research it. He's just an attorney. But he's saying that you have a criminal history as a sex offender. That means that paperwork meant exactly what it meant. It also indicates possibly that he already had your court record unsealed and already has that in the chamber ready to bang you with it. You're about to get boomed with it at court. See Exhibit A to the Declaration of Tariq Nasheed. These statements are absolutely privileged under well-established case law. Oh my gosh. You know what that means? Exhibit A is that paperwork, if I had to guess. Exhibit A is that paperwork that we've been showing here on Liberation Minded Media, Exposing Taharka Bey, Onslaught Multimedia, Sonetta TV showed it, and of course Tariq Nasheed and others. That's probably Exhibit A. He's saying, see Exhibit A, please, Your Honor. These statements are absolutely privileged under well-established case law. So there's already been laws that have been, or cases that have been settled based on the fact that you can't sue someone for bringing public record or records of the court. And you can't say that is defamatory for saying something that has been established as a fact. That's what they're saying.
See Exhibit A for Declaration of Tariq Nasheed. These statements are absolutely privileged under well-established case law. Okay. Defendant's statements on the issue of public concern comprise of opinion, hoopable, and substantially true facts are not actionable as a matter of law. Not only are the plaintiff's meritless claims completely within the spirit of classic slap suits designed to deter public participation. They clearly arise from protected free speech and conduct in furtherance thereof.
Does this nigga have Tourette's? What the fuck was that?
It's free speech.
I eat crickets. I mean, what the fuck is what's up with this dude? Yeah, all good. I think when exposing Taharka Bey, the research ninja, based on the views that he gets, you know what I'm saying, you can calculate an approximate of what a YouTuber would make based on the amount of views per month. And I think it came out to, I want to say like 146 or maybe 246. It was something ridiculously low. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So like, you know, imagine it, and he gets donations and shit, mostly from Cryptonomics, which we didn't pull Cryptonomics has had his files pulled too. His paperwork came back kind of dirty too, honestly. But you know, the only reason I don't get into that is because they ain't never raised, you know, open their lips to say some sideways shit. And you know, it is what it is. But this cat didn't put me in flyers and, you know, threaten me and all this other shit, and you know, said I'm a liar and all that other shit. So we air him out. He's a bitch nigga, and we have to understand how to identify this type, not just the type, the Taharka Bey type, but also the Taharka Bey audience. See, we're dealing with the ability to expose these bastards in real time like we never have before. See, back in the day, we couldn't expose people in real time. That's how William O'Neill was able to infiltrate Fred Hampton in the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party and set him up to be murdered. Because nobody knew about counterintelligence then. And back then, the agents had to actually get down and dirty and risk their life, and they couldn't just hit a button and broadcast on social media. So a lot of the people who really weren't down with the movement back then, because we didn't have social media, because the only media we had to rely on was the TV, a lot of those people can pretend, oh, I was really down with Malcolm X. I was down with the NOI. I was down with the Black Panthers. I marched with Martin Luther King, when they was the scary ass house Negroes like Taharka Bey that were doing what Taharka Bey is doing, except for they could only do it on their porch. They couldn't do it on an international platform. They were the same ones that were hating back then. But now they'll tell you that they were down with the movement because they see that history has proven them to be on the wrong side. See, these cats aren't going to be able to do that. So it's important to understand not just who this Negro is and Negroes like him, but the kind of Negroes that follow and support him, lest we be foolish enough to let them double back and act like they're with us. That's the importance of showing this. And also so you can see exactly how these haters, hypocrites, bitch ass niggas and agents operate. Because it's pretty much the same playbook. Let's undermine people who are doing real things. Let's undermine organizations and individuals who are actually beloved by their people in their community. See, it'd be different if like there was a whole uprising of grassroots on the grassroots of people saying, oh, we don't like Tariq Nasheed. We don't like these Panther organizations. We don't like this individual or this organization that's operating our community. And he was a voice for them, but that's not the case. He's the one, him and his audience are ones that hate. The people that are benefiting from the work that's being done, they're not hating. They're supporting it. See, it's a scary thing for the status quo when they see that the people will support a movement organically and you don't have to petition for some type of grants from the city or from the state or from some corporation that's going to make you infuse your movement with rainbow colors and shit. And those are the only people he attacks. He attacks the grassroots organizations, the ones that are being supported by the people on the ground that those organizations and individuals are actually serving. He doesn't attack like the carbon copy clones and bots that they send at us. He's not calling out the Roland Martins, the Justin Pearsons, the ones that really aren't on our side that have been used and put in place by our enemies. He's not calling them out. He's not calling out the real detriments to our communities. He's not even calling out the drug dealers. He's not doing none of that. He's not calling out the fact that the school to prison pipeline, which is operating in full effect in his own city, the literacy rate that's 77%. He's not calling out none of that. He's not combating none of that. He has no solutions for none of that. He's not saying anything about the murders that happen in Baltimore every single day, the abandoned buildings, the drug dealers, the crooked politicians, the corrupt police. He's not calling out none of that. He's only attacking those who are actually trying to remedy the challenges within our communities across the United States and that are beloved by the people that they serve.
The claims should be stricken and the plaintiff should be ordered to pay attorney fees. Background facts. Plaintiff's claims for defamation, libel, slander are based upon defendant's public statement regarding plaintiff's criminal history and public record of sex crimes, including registration as a sex offender.
Bam. Listen, that's like the third or fourth time that this has been just in this initial paperwork. Think about that. Who do you think knows more about law? An attorney or Taharka Bey? Let's just be real. Taharka Bey don't even have an attorney. He's going to tell you that in a minute. So you think that this attorney got it wrong and doesn't know what it means, that paperwork? Look at this. Cause of action. Plaintiff's cause of action. Plaintiff's claim for defamation, libel, and slander are based upon the defendant's public statements regarding plaintiff's criminal history and public record of sex crime, including registration of or as a sex offender. Think about what that means. That means that he's trying to sue him for what is on public record. Criminal history, which includes the beating up his wife and his babies. He you know what it is, man. He can pretend that that's not really what that paperwork means, but an attorney clearly is saying that's what it means, and this is what I'm willing to put on the record. This is his livelihood. This is what he does for a living. And he's saying, oh, I know exactly what that means. I've seen these before. Or, guess what? I'm an attorney. I might not be a criminal defense attorney, but I know one. And we looked at this. Yeah, this is standard. This is exactly what that means. Okay, cool. He has enough confidence to put that on the record. There's a reason for that.
Can y'all hear this?
He's stuck.
Y'all hear this?
He's stuck. I get it.
But listen. Let me stop here for a minute. You
Yeah,
have to understand
right
how the court of law works. You got to understand how attorneys work. Attorneys and the court of law, they work in the favor of law. They don't work in the favor of emotion.
Listen to what he just said. He said attorneys and courts work on law, not emotions. He's correct about that. I think he missed the point that everything he just read was submitted by an attorney in compliance with and a full understanding of law, not emotions. He's the one that's going on emotions, not the attorney. So the attorney just put that forth to the courts. And as he said, they operate on, let's hear it from his own mouth again. Let's go ahead. Let's hear it.
Yes.
Stuck. You don't know what to say. Did you not read that before you went live?
Listen. Let me stop here for a minute. You have to understand how the court of law works. You got to understand.
Okay, you have to understand how the court of law works. Let's go ahead.
And how attorneys work.
How attorneys work. Okay. Understand how a court of law and how attorneys work. That's what he just said.
Attorneys and the court of law.
Attorneys and the court of law. The attorney being this white gentleman right here.
They work in the favor of law. They don't work in the favor of emotion.
They work in the favor of law. So you just actually Yeah. You basically just backed and gave credibility to the attorney and what everything that he just produced, because you're saying that he operates. Let's hear it again.
Y'all hear this?
Yeah, we heard it.
But listen. Let me stop here for a minute. You have to understand how the court of law works. You got to understand how attorneys work. Attorneys and the court of law, they work in the favor of law. They don't work in the favor of emotion.
So he just said that they work in the favor of law, not emotion. So you just validated what you just read as not being emotional, but logical and lawful.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what you have to understand. They work in the favor of law, and they work in the favor of not motion. You know what I'm saying? Emotions. And so it's any attorney would try to, any attorney.
See, now you got to walk it back. I think he just understood what he just did. So now here's where the plebiscite babbling and comes into play. And now he has to explain it. He has to start nigga explaining shit. And then he's going to start begging for donations.
Would try to use anything that they can use to defend their client.
Right. They're going to use anything that they can use. And being an attorney that operates in law, they're going to use what's lawful and logical. Meaning, if you have paperwork that says that you are a woman beater, child abuser, and registered documented sex offender, they're going to use that. And if they need to pull up more documentations, that's what they're going to request to do, even if it means pulling sealed records. Now, there's no guarantee that they'll be able to unseal the record, but they're definitely going to try. But even if they can't, there's already enough to make your case null and void.
Free speech, or like the anti-SLAPP law, which is basically designed for people in the media to have the ability to report a story and not get sued. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, y'all need to see that, this thing got to go. We got to go all the way with this, And so this is why I'm saying we need to take this support to another level. I don't care.
There we go. He needs to raise more money, y'all. That's what he's saying. You got to take the support to another level. I mean, you guys already supported it. I know. You already gave me money that I fucked off on Disneyland. The only thing that he has done with that money that he has raised so far is filed the suit, which was like $100. But he didn't do it when he went to LA. He went to Disneyland. He told you that. You don't think that was your money he used? You guys are burning your money donating to this cat, because he used it for Disneyland. He's using it for his personal expenses. He didn't even use it to file while he was there or get an attorney. He still hasn't had an attorney. He still doesn't have an attorney.
If you got $1, if you got $2, I'm asking for your support so we can ride this all out. Right now, it's so hard to get an attorney in California.
Okay, it's so hard to get an attorney in California. That must be the easiest place to get an attorney in LA. Especially for a hearing like this. They have defamation hearings all the time. We're talking about celebrity filled Los Angeles. It'd be easy to get an attorney. And if you weren't going live for 3 hours a day and tweeting for 2 hours and being on Facebook obsessed with this nigga, you could have probably found an attorney by now. If you didn't fuck off the money that was donated to you, you would already have an attorney by now. My guess is he's, like I said before, I didn't think he would even take it this far. My guess is he doesn't really want to see the inside of that courtroom. That's just my guess.
That I may have to ride this out pro se. But
so right there, he's saying that he doesn't have an attorney. He may have to write it out pro se. He might have to defend himself, is what he's saying. Oh, let me give a shout out to everybody that's watching real quick. All Good says, I heard crypto was greasy. Yeah, he's greasy, likely. I don't like overusing words like agent, and maybe we should just say provocateur or something. But yeah, he's greasy in many ways. His record is very suspect. He never ever shows his face, and as much as like Taharka Bey be like, you gotta show your face to come on here. Crypto never shows his face when he goes on there. He protects crypto, but we got his name and all that. Shout out to you. It's all good. Shout out to Don P914. Said you're speaking truth. Shout out to, let me see. It's a lot easier to identify the William O'Neills of the world. Yes, it is. Because now we have what's called, first of all, we have history. Really, we could thank Muhammad Ali and the people of that era for why we even know that COINTEL exists, because it was uncovered. They did an elaborate little, not procedure, but basically during one of Ali's biggest fights, people, as everyone was distracted, they raided a place where the FBI had their records, and then they ended up making them public, giving them to all kinds of different media platforms at the time. Now, they redacted a lot of it, so what we know about counterintelligence is only scratching the surface. But yes, now that we know about William O'Neill, we know about other agents, we know how they infiltrated, we know how they teamed up with the mafia to flood the streets with drugs like heroin in order to take down the movement of the day. And because we now in real time can identify and communicate. See, you think about it, in the 60s, the only way we were communicating was via telephone, and remember, long distance, and niggas couldn't afford long distance back then. There was no internet. The only thing you saw on TV is what they wanted you to see on TV. The only thing that was printed on the news was what was printed in the newspaper, what they printed. We couldn't just oh shit, guess what's going on over here, and whoop-de-whoop, and share this information in real time. Now we can. Like I said, a lot of the people who are pretending now that they were down with the movement weren't really down with the movement. They were detractors like this dude, except for they didn't have a YouTube channel. Ryan Dixon says Taharka Bey obviously doesn't know the law. Yeah, that's a fact. Can't wait until he gets exposed even more. And that's the whole thing. This is why I said that I really didn't think he would take it this far, because it only means now attorneys are going to be on the scene. And like I said before, he can tell his audience that paperwork didn't mean what it says. But he can't walk up into court saying that, because they're going to correct them right on the spot. They're going to be like, hold up, that's exactly what it means. Maybe the case is sealed and you're no longer on the registry. But no, at that time you obviously were, because it's right there in black and white. And that is why Tariq Nasheed's attorney has entered that and reiterated, repetitively referred to him as a sex offender with confidence. Let me see what else we got. Go back. Thank you for going there. Taharka is smelling like an agent. Compromised record check. Serious charges mysteriously removed. Check. Only going after progressive writers. Check. Yeah. That's all he goes after. He doesn't go after, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't go after people who really you would think he should go after. And then here's another thing, another way that you could identify agents and provocateurs a lot of times. And we know this recipe, we know this standard, we know this is typically how it goes, because we have history to draw from. They're typically have long, lengthy criminal records that can be used against them. So William O'Neill, he had a Fed case that he was going to be charged with. That's why he ended up infiltrating the Black Panther Party, because he was facing big time for impersonating an FBI agent, which is a federal crime. So they gave him the ultimatum: hey, you could either do this prison time, you could eat this, or you could infiltrate. And that's how they do it. So they have something to hang over your head. So if this dude has a sex crime hanging over his head, that, okay, we're going to seal this, but we need you to blah, blah, blah. And it's not a coincidence, as was brought forth before by the Research Ninja, that the same week he started Morris Road TV was the same week he should have been going to prison, back to prison, for an assault 2nd degree. That's the paperwork that shows that he was a registered sex offender. That's not what put him on the registry, but it just so happens that during the time he caught that case, he was registered, so that was reflected on the paperwork from that case. So when they have leverage on you, that's when they can get you to cooperate. See, they can't get you to flip and cooperate if they don't have nothing to hang over your head. If you don't have a criminal record, it's harder to flip. You'd have to like go to them saying that you wanted to whoop-de-whoop. But when you catch cases, this is how they flip snitches. Okay, we just caught you with a couple bricks in the trunk riding dirty. Ah, man, we can give you 30 years. Or you could work on the streets and help us put away people bigger than you. You can help us wrap up this case and find out who the plug is. You can give up your plug. Standard procedure. That's what they do. That's why it's no coincidence that him and some of the other people that fuck with him, they have criminal records, lengthy criminal records. For egregious activities, including sexual crimes. Like there's some of his supporters are actually convicted rapists. I can say this without worrying about any kind of suit because I got the receipts. So a lot of his backers and his associates, they are convicted. Listen, one of Taharka Bey's best friends, Adrian, if you're watching, Taharka, you know who I'm talking about, was convicted of gang raping a 14-year-old. This is on the record. This is like, that's documentation. That's documented, homie. Yeah. It's not funny, but I'm just saying, like, yo, we know what we're dealing with. We know who we're dealing with. We know the pedigree of y'all niggas. Let me see something. So anyway, let me see. What else? I'm gonna close this out, man. I just wanted to show you guys this shit, but let's go ahead and do this real quick. Since I said I was gonna do this, let's end it with Tyler. What do y'all think about this? Tyler Perry reportedly set to buy BET. So Tyler Perry is going to buy. Remember, BET used to be owned by Bob Johnson. He ended up selling it to some white people, and that's when they took like all the news off and made it just ratchet. So now it's back in the hands of a black man, that and VH1 for that matter. Check this out. There's been a lot of speculation about who would eventually purchase the BET brand from Paramount Global. It appears billionaire filmmaker, studio owner. His studio basically used to be a compound for the Confederates. So like, he I gotta respect that. Tyler Perry is the front runner to be BET's next owner. Let's see what else we got. Over the past several months, multiple individuals has expressed interest in buying BET. Hip-hop artist moguls Diddy and 50 Cent were named as potential buyers. The new report from the Steamer claims Perry will take control of BET Media Group for an undisclosed amount. Perry previously signed a multi-year joint venture between Tyler Perry Studios and the BET Plus streaming network. So that means that he's going to be able to put out all kinds of different stuff, right? BET with his studios, they're going to be able to produce movies, TV shows. Other people are going to be able to use the studio to produce TV shows. Now, what do y'all think about that? BET Plus productions such as all the Queen's Men and Ruthless film. So here's the thing, right? Because I know what the obvious thing that a lot of people would say, and it's fair that you would ask, is he gonna bussify BET? I would say it's already been bussified, because we know the Medea, the cross-dressing. I don't think he's ever claimed to be gay. I think we could, debate that if we want to. Here's my thing, though. I think that I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt. Yes, will he put niggas in dresses? Will he be in a dress at some point on BET? Most likely. But he's not going to be creating all the content. And as long as he leaves the BET platform like he does with his studios, as long as he leaves it open for other black filmmakers and actors to be able to get their thing off, to be able to make movies. Now we'll be able to get certain kind of movies and films and TV shows that we couldn't before. With this new awakening that we're having as a people, and this new codification and the way that we're able to put money together to support grassroots projects, now we have a venue for these things to express themselves. Think of all the different movies that you would like to see, the type of TV shows you like to see, the different kind of artists that you would like to see. Now there's a unadulterated avenue for these things to happen, right? That means the new hidden colors and the new what's that? American Maroons and different kind of stories that we have never seen on the big screen about our history can now be produced and put on television and or movies produced by us, FUBU, without having to worry about going through Hollywood. Now it means we have our own potential Black Hollywood, if he doesn't bussify it and start gatekeeping and doing all the funny shit. Which I don't know. I don't really know his pedigree like that. I know he makes good movies. I know he does a Medea and he likes to put on the dress. But I think that there's enough other people who are solid enough and stand up enough that, you know, they may be able to contribute, and everything doesn't have to be a Tyler Perry production. So check this out. BET Plus Productions, such as, oh, I already said that part. If Perry does finalize the deal to acquire BET Media Group, he'll also take control of VH1 Network, Video Hits 1, which was like a music, like MTV for us. Rumor. No, it's not a rumor. I've been there for 4 years now and had tremendous success, is what Tyler Perry told Entertainment Tonight on April 23rd about potentially purchasing BET. The 53-year-old Atlanta resident added, "I wasn't expecting this to happen, so yes, if that is possible, I'm very, very interested in taking as much of it. If it's possible, I'm going to take as much of it as I can." Tyler Perry, best known for blah, 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 blah. Let me see what else. Robert L. Johnson launched BET, so he's the one that sold it. And then let me see, when was this? When is this from? Is this from today? Oh, yeah, this is from today. So he's set to buy it. I mean, I would like to see it in black hands. I think he's, I definitely think it'd be better than where it's at right now in the white man's hand, who's only showing the most ratchet bullshit. I ain't watched BET for so long. I think potentially it could be a good thing. You know, they only like to give this type of opportunity to certain kinds of people, right? They don't want Bill Cosby buying certain shit, having CBS. They didn't want Ice Cube buying the different sports networks and television networks that he was trying to buy in order to promote his big three competition and make it competitive with the NBA. So I don't know who else could pull this off that potentially may do good with BET. I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna hold out that if he does acquire this, which it looks like he's going to, that he'll at least have the right people around him, and or we might not like what he produces, but there'll be other black creators of film and TV that will be able to, you know what I'm saying? That'll be able to put things together to make it worthy of watching. As long as they don't bussify it and start pushing all that rainbow shit and trying to indoctrinate, which is very, you know what I'm saying, it's very possible that they're doing that already anyway. So that's that, y'all. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure you like. I know there's plenty of haters that's been watching this that's going to run till that. Go ahead and do that. For the rest of y'all, make sure you comment, like, subscribe if you ain't already. I appreciate y'all. Peace.